Hi there, I hope all is well. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about the male loneliness epidemic, or kind of in general, the loneliness epidemic that is plaguing our young people. And I wanted to make this video because I had kind of loosely heard the statistics on young men today and young people in general when it comes to the levels of depression, suicide, anxiety, feelings of loneliness. But the thing that really solidified it for me and made it really surreal was the video that I made titled "To the Lonely Christian," and 90% of people who clicked on that video were men. And that was telling me men really have a problem today. And after reading some of the comments too, I was like, wow, this is not good. Feeling lonely is not a good thing. And so I just kind of wanted to create this video to have words of encouragement. And I know I'm just some girl and you don't have to be listening to me, and maybe you can dismiss everything I'm saying because I'm a girl and because I don't understand. However, I have been alone many times in my life, mainly in high school. I had a really bad season, should I say, and finding community really helps. That's what I'm here to give you. I really want to give you that community and that sense of belonging. And again, even though my channel is more like geared and targeting younger women, should I say, I'm more than happy and in fact flattered that so many men have found somewhat of a space here. So getting into this, number one is, I just want to validate what you're experiencing. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that you are feeling this way and that you're experiencing these things. I can't even imagine as a man what it means to feel lonely, because as a woman, you can feel lonely and those feelings are really deep and they're really hard, but at the end of the day, you don't have this second layer to it where you feel ashamed to reach out and get help. I think like women probably are able to speak out more on these things than men. And so having that added layer of, thinking it's going to make you weak or that you're embarrassed or scared to talk about it only makes it that much harder. And so I'm here to, again, validate and give you my heart, if that makes sense, on this issue. I'm so sorry if you are feeling alone. However, you don't have to feel alone forever. Even if you've gone years and years and you feel kind of desolate, I promise you, if you make an effort, you will find amazing people. It is a bit hard, I will admit, if you're more introverted and shy, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? All things are possible through Christ. First off, I can't help but ask, kind of stepping back a bit, I can't help but ask, if there are so many men who are alone, why aren't they supporting each other? Why aren't they creating men's groups? Why aren't they creating spaces for each other to talk about these feelings of loneliness and depression and everything else under the sun? I don't know. And maybe that's a question men kind of have to turn inwardly for and figure out. I see now all online, all of a sudden, it's like blatantly obvious that men are struggling with this, but all they do is they share their story, but they don't try and fix it. And I think being more solution oriented to this is really key, okay? I see that there's a lot of lamenting, I see that there's a lot of hopelessness and again, sharing of stories, but let's be productive, let's be solution oriented. So I say this because maybe your calling, because I know that there's an argument that, men are feeling a lack of purpose. Maybe your calling and maybe your purpose is to create men's groups or spheres or communities. What's stopping you from going out there, making friends, and maybe hosting guys and having a guy night, like a bro night, every week at your house or something? Or, switching off from house to house. I mean, there are a plethora of things that you could do to be productive in your own little community. But aside from that, I would really recommend, firstly, to not hyper fixate on the fact that you feel alone. Very much curate the content that you're watching online to not constantly be reminding you that you're alone. I'm not gonna lie. When I was in my lonely, kind of weird phase, like I was saying in high school, I remember the content that I was watching was always down, really depressing, just constantly reminding me of the issues that I was struggling with. Where had I just watched and listened to more productive things, more lighthearted things, more motivating things, more hopeful things, I could have probably gotten out of that little phase sooner. So all of this is to say, I would firstly really see if you can reach out into your community and see if you can help men around you. And then 2, make sure you're not hyperfixating on it. And that doesn't mean dismissing the fact that you feel the way you feel, but that means not bombarding yourself and kind of going into this mental spiral of reminding yourself that you're alone, or that you're struggling with this, or that men are struggling in general, right? Watch a lot of good content that motivates you, where it's a man who, yeah, was maybe really lonely, was maybe an addict, was struggling so hard, but he turned his life around through X, Y, and Z, okay? So curate your content so it teaches you and tells you how to get out of this phase, okay? Another thing, and I'm gonna be so real here, is I can't help but think that a lot of the loneliness is somewhat connected to women not validating men, should I say, and accepting men today. And I say this because I can't help but think that a lot of men feel lonely because they are getting rejected by women. And that is telling me that you are centering your life around women. Don't get me wrong, I get it. Like, I somewhat get it. Like, I know men are very, if you will, centered around women and just constantly wanting validation from women and, you know, wanting those connections. However, I think if that's kind of your end goal, if you think that getting out of loneliness means that you're gonna have this result of having a woman, a girlfriend, a partner, a wife, whatever, I don't think then you're in the right headspace to get out of loneliness. You need to get out of this loneliness headspace for yourself. You need to do it so you can connect to God. You need to do it so you can find purpose from God to help other men, over trying to upgrade yourself and have your glow up for the sake of women and at the end of the rainbow getting a woman. And I'm just being real, okay? Maybe that's so unfounded and maybe that's so like far off, but I've read many stories now where men are saying, you know, women, like, I can't get a girlfriend and am I really going to be single for the rest of my life and such. And it's like, if you decenter your life around women, you're probably more likely to get women later. But then again, there's that paradox that happens where it's like, once you focus on yourself and your faith and all things that are important to you, you're less inclined, if you will, or gravitated towards women, which then in turn gets you those women. But then if you're really focused on the women, you're probably less likely to get the women. It's a weird thing. I don't really know. And you can see this also with like losing weight and such, but anyway. So all of this is to say, I would really recommend decentering yourself from women and having this mindset that, okay, I'm gonna try and work on myself and get better and feel better for a woman at the end. And also recognize that your loneliness is not caused by women. Let's be for real. Loneliness is caused by everybody. I just would highly recommend that you don't pin it all on women. I don't think that's fair. And I just also don't think it's productive. So I get if you're feeling bad, I get it. You're down in the dumps and you are really lonely. And again, I know what that feels like. It's like crippling and it's like in your soul, like dark. You feel like there's a stone in your stomach. It's awful. I totally get it. However, decenter around women and your life will get better, okay? Another thing, again, I've been hearing this narrative that men aren't finding purpose right now, and I can totally get that, right? Again, I hate to put it back on women, but just for a second, I can somewhat understand that if women are kind of giving this narrative that we don't need you, men, then as a man, I'm sure you're probably like, well, then what's the point? Like, if women don't need me, if society doesn't need me, what's the point? I'm here to tell you, society does need you. Whether or not women admit it or not, society needs you, okay? You bring so much inherent value to the workplace, to society, to the culture. You don't even know, okay? I know that it's really easy to feel just like an individual, like one in, what's our population, like 400 million or something, but you have so much value, it's not even funny, okay? And again, I know I'm just kind of one girl on the internet in the corner of the internet, but I very much love men. You know, good men, I'll say that. I very much love good men. And I'm not saying this to be pick me, okay, but I'm being for real. Like, I look around and I think of all the value that gets added to my life because of men. And as much as I love my women and such, they just could never fill that role. So I just want you to know, like, you inherently being a man adds value in some way, whether you like it or not. You could be making people feel safer and more protected or guarded. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, sometimes when I go out in public and I see that there's like a big burly man or whatever, when there's maybe a creepo over there, I feel so much safer. And maybe you're that big burly man. So just know that you might go unnoticed and you feel unnoticed, but as a woman, I don't think you should. okay? And I think you should really recognize the value that you have. And also, God made you to be who you are for a reason. The odds of you being born are so slim, it's not even funny. And God picked you out for some reason, okay? And it's up to you to figure out what he wants you to do on this earth. It might be something as simple as, you know, maybe being a grocery clerk, but you bring Christ to maybe thousands of people through your work. And that was what you were called to do. Or maybe it's to be a lawyer or to be a dad or a husband or whatever. And you're gonna branch out, and your fruit, if you will, is going to extend in ways you're never gonna know. Just don't give up, okay? And I know that's really easy for somebody to say and very cliche, but I wanna give you actually a story, if that's okay. Again, I really am not trying to be pick-me, and I really hope nobody thinks of me as a pick-me, but I always had an affinity for the underdog, if that makes sense, and for maybe the people in society who are a bit strange or odd. So when I was in community college, I was surrounded by nerds, okay? Because I was in STEM, and so I was surrounded by nerds. It was all these like kind of geeky CS kids and a lot of math kids, but mainly CS and physics kids. And so, you know, should I say not necessarily the cream of the crop of society, even though they're very much the backbone of society, but they were very rejected. These 18, 19, 20-year-old guys never had a girlfriend, never really had friends, or if they did, it was like one or two here and there in high school. And so there's specifically one friend I met and I made. And I always made it a point for me to go out of my way to befriend the people who don't usually have friends. I don't know, that's just, I don't want people feeling alone. And so this guy, I'll call him B, he was an interesting fellow. He was very rejected. I could see he was very insecure, but I still made it a point to befriend him. And I started talking with him, and you know, through our friend groups and such, because we created this friend group of all these little nerds, and they're so cute. And so I befriended him in this friend group, and of course I was also having individual relationships and friendships with everybody in this group, but I'm just picking him out now for the sake of the story. And he was very insecure. He had never had a girlfriend, and he had little things about him that made him maybe odd, you know, things that he was into, but I never judged him on that. And in fact, I thought that was so charming and endearing, you know, to have those little hobbies and interests. One night he came to me because I guess he felt comfortable enough with me, and he called me and he was crying. He broke down and he bawled on the phone with me, and he was feeling very lonely and very rejected and just like a loser. And so we're on this phone call for maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, and I'm, you know, of course hearing him out and giving him kind words and everything, and it broke my heart to know that probably the average American man is now experiencing that. And he felt so embarrassed for crying to me, even though I didn't judge him at all. And I said, it's okay to cry. And I said, listen, you're not worthless. You have something going for you. You're extremely intelligent. You have all these quirky things about you that make you so funny. But I'm gonna be honest with you. You might have to work on yourself a bit. And I said this as somebody who works out and who really, I believe I take care of myself. And I said, you know, if you ever want to work out together or if you want to do things together, I'm here and whatever. But I think something clicked in him when I was giving him this advice to somewhat level up and maybe try harder and give the woman's perspective of what we're looking for, if that's what his end goal was. You know, we got off the phone and a couple weeks go by, and you know, we're still seeing each other at school and everything. And he tells me how he took up TRX and how he quit this really bad habit, which he had shared with me and all. And his mental health started to get better. I could tell his mood was so much better. He wasn't as down and sad. And so I could see this change was happening for him. So he started working out, he started gaining muscle, he started looking really good, his confidence started to go up. And then here he goes off to his school. He actually finished the community college a year before me. So he was going to his university while I was still at community college. And there he goes, and he's thriving and he has a purpose. And before, he felt this pressure that he had to go into CS, and that's what he was doing, you know, computer science, but he had a passion for theater. And he had a passion for, I think it was literature as well. And so he told his parents, who were pushing the CS, I want to do what I want to do. So he took up, I think it was theater or film or something like that. and he pursued that in school, and he said he was thriving, he met his people, and he's never felt happier. So all of this is to say, that is probably the average male experience, is feeling very rejected, a lot of pressure is put on you, but you don't feel accepted or good enough for anything. There is something inherently in you that nobody else has. The whole makeup of who you are as a man, no other man can have, right? We think of the general, like, okay, provider, protector, all those kinds of things. But when I really speak to men one-on-one and I see what is inherently unique about them, it is so beautiful. It's not even funny. Like, I want to learn more about that, and I want to see them thrive and be so bright and joyful when talking about their passions. And so that's, I guess, something that you could try, is finding your hobbies, finding your passion. Definitely start working out. I've heard that a lot from men too, is when men started working out, their confidence just went through the roof, okay? They were able to speak to women more easily. Their relationships with other men also increased. Their career was better. So you need to kind of hone in, right? Like, forget about everything that's going on in the world. Hone in on yourself to make yourself better. What are you eating? If you're eating junk food all day, of course you're gonna feel sad and not great. You're not giving your brain the nutrition it needs to fuel itself. Food is energy, right? So you wanna use good energy so you can expel it in whatever you're doing, whether it's working out or work or whatever, okay? So find some hobbies that you really like, focus on them, see how they make you grow and challenge you and enrich you. Work out, start working out, change your diet. I'm sure if you just do those 3 things, your life is already gonna change for the better. And I can't help but think that this whole loneliness thing is stemming from a lot of insecurity. And I do not wanna see men insecure. I wanna see them confident, I wanna see them competent. That's what America needs. And then this actually leads me to my bigger point, which is maybe your purpose and maybe all of this is a cry that God is trying to give to American men, saying you need to save the nation. You need to come together to save the nation. I know that we are in tough times, right? And tough times create strong men. Unfortunately, before we had weak men, which made the tough times, and then tough times make the strong men, and then the strong men make the easy times, and easy time makes the weak time, and then the weak men, and then it all cycles back. So we are in a tough time right now. Men are not doing well. But can't you like see how this is like the ultimate opportunity for you to better yourself, for you to become the man, if you will, of your dreams? I mean, think of your most, like, I hate to say alpha, that is like the cringiest thing ever, but like, think of the ultimate male figure you could possibly have. I don't even care if it's a movie character. I don't care if it's like a book character or whatever, or like fictitious. I don't care. Whatever it is, think to yourself, what would he be doing that got him there? What were the habits and steps that he took to get there, okay? And then slowly start strategizing to implement these things into your life. Let's say your dream man, oh gosh, I don't even know. Okay, I have one. It's a really dumb example, but let's say your dream man is Robin Hood. I loved Robin Hood growing up, that cartoon character from Disney, like the most selfless, courageous, funny, loving, kind man ever. Robin Hood is like the epitome of the most amazing man, I can't help but think, okay? If let's say you're striving to be like a Robin Hood, what was Robin Hood doing so that he could be that great? Also, I am not about stealing from the rich, by the way. Just need to make a disclaimer, but he was about helping those less fortunate. He was about treating people with respect and seeking justice for those that were kind of wreaking havoc on the lower class, okay? So whatever it is, see what he was doing. Okay, he took up archery. Maybe you need to take up archery. Maybe you gotta, you know, kind of be living more out in the wilderness or outside and doing those kinds of things. So that is my advice for the men out there. And then I also want to address the women, if that's okay. I know a lot of women are gonna think this is kind of cringy, but whatever, because I really want to help men and I want to help people who are feeling lonely. We need to be nicer to men. And I do not want to see the men in the comments being all like, oh yeah. No, okay, stop. I'm being for real though. Like, when you're on campus, I would humbly ask that you are kind to all men on campus and that you try your best to be friendly and befriend everybody. I know it's hard. I know some guys might be weirder, but I think those are the guys that need the most love. And that's all that I've experienced, were the guys that seemed the weirdest and maybe the creepiest or something were the guys who needed the most love. Now, I'm not saying that this is our job. We're not here to fix men, but I think it's a very godly thing to be kind to everybody, right? That's what Jesus asks us to do. Treat others the way that we want to be treated. If you were in those men's shoes, how would you want to be treated? Like an outcast loser? No. You want to be respected and seen and validated. So if you're ever on campus, girls, I can't help but just think, why not just say hi, smile? I just see so many girls on campus like this, like all the time, like blinders on, and everybody's like blind to them. And there's this sense of like ego and pride that these girls are too good for people. And I'm like, it has nothing to do even with dating. Like, don't do this because you're trying to like give a handout or whatever. Like, this is just to be genuinely kind and friendly to people. And for the women who are lonely out there, I'm really sorry that you're feeling lonely, but that is what girlfriends are for, okay? So if you don't have any, try and make some. And I'm still gonna make that video on how to make friends, especially if you're more introverted, but really try and make an effort, you know? I know that maybe insecurities might be crippling. I know you might feel alone completely, but you at least have me. I'm here, and I know, again, I'm just kind of like some girl, but I'm here to support you and love you and give you, you know, kind of the support that you need. But at the end of the day, you are so strong, and you can go out there and make your dream life with the help of God if you just befriend people. You actually have the power as a woman. You're the one who gets to open the door, if that makes sense. So invite people into your door. You'll learn and see how beneficial it is to you. And I'm not saying do this for the benefits, but you will learn so much about people. Like, honestly, having befriended those nerds in my school, I learned how amazing they are, how passionate they are about their hobbies that I would have never considered, like D&D. Oh my gosh, I loved playing card games with these guys and learning all these cool things. They were teaching me all these Minecraft things. Like, I was like, this is the best thing ever. They teach you tools, they help you out. Then these guys in the college were willing to help me with anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like and then they felt useful, and they felt like they had a purpose, because here is a girl, you know, who needs help. I think it's going to be in everybody's benefit if we all are kind to each other and we all try to be friends with each other. So for me, I actually had a goal at some point to make friends with one new person each day. Or, you know, if that's too much, maybe once a week or whatever, but really make an effort. What do you have to lose by just reaching out to people, okay? So anyway, to the men out there, I would highly recommend that you create circles for each other to support each other, get through this, and then kind of like lock in to see if you can save America, because I can't help but think, like, big picture, this is happening. This is like a revolution. I think men are so down right now that they're gonna come out stronger, you know? And the women out there, also, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help and mention how you're feeling, okay? Because there are, you know, bunch of women's organizations and groups out there to support you. So please, you know, utilize them. That's what they're there for. And don't be afraid. And then also try and just befriend everybody. Be kind to everybody. Work on yourself. Develop yourself to be the best person that you could be. And the rest, honestly, is history. That's how I got out of it. Yeah. But anywho, thank you so much for watching. If you did, I would love to hear your stories or your perspectives down below. Or if you need any support or anything, I'm here for you. But I'm praying for you. God bless. Bye.